Hi, my name is Sherilyn Williams, and I'm your local Chicagoland and Indiana realtor, helping you build your dreams through real estate. And I really enjoy making content and educating home buyers in all things of the home buying process. So if you could please like and hit that subscribe button, not only does it support me, but it helps this information get out to other home buyers. Thank you for all of your support. So today we're going to talk about the 10 major myths when buying a home. Now, the first myth is that you have to put 20% down as a down payment. Now, I'm not for sure why this myth has been around for so many years, but it is absolutely false. You do not have to put down 20% to buy a home. You can put down as little as 3% with a conventional loan. And if you decide to get a government insured loan, which is called an FHA loan, you can put down as little as 3.5%. You also have some options where you don't have to put down any money at all. If you are a military veteran, you don't have to put any money down for a down payment. And also, if you choose to live in a rural area, you can get a USDA loan where you also don't have to put down a down payment. So there definitely are some options for you, so speak with a lender. Now, one thing to consider, if you do put down less than 20% for a down payment, you may have to take on PMI or primary mortgage insurance. This is an insurance that insures the lender in case you default on the loan. And this will be a small payment that will be tacked on to your monthly mortgage payment. But what's really neat is that once you receive about 20% equity in your home, the PMI or primary mortgage insurance can fall off that home loan, or you can inform the lender that you want it removed. So it doesn't stay on the entire term of the loan. Now, it is really awesome if you can put down a greater down payment, of course, because you're not financing as much for that home, and you also build up equity right away. But in many cases, people can't do that. So, for example, if you are trying to buy a $350,000 home, 20% down payment for that home would be $70,000. And that's a large chunk of change for many people, but especially if you are a first-time home buyer. But if you really desire to be a homeowner, putting down a less down payment or a lower down payment than 20% is a great option for you. The second myth is that the pre-approval rate that you get pre-approved for will be the same rate that you will have at closing. And that is completely not true. When you speak to a lender initially and they pre-approve you, they're going to give you the current market rate. But you have to keep in mind that the interest rates fluctuate on a daily basis, so it can definitely change. So in my opinion, it's always best to try to lock in your interest rate once you have started the home buying process and you've executed a contract with the home seller, because that interest rate lock does have a specific time period that it will expire. And usually that's like around 30 days or 45 days. You don't want to get an interest rate lock when you first get pre-approved and you haven't started looking for a house yet, because the clock is ticking. You want to wait until you have a contract signed with the home seller. Then that time clock starts to tick all the way to the closing. Now, let's say that you get an interest rate lock at 6% after you've submitted a contract. Now, if that interest rate, let's say in a couple of days, goes down to like 5 3/4, you can't lower your interest rate. You would have to stay right at that 6%. But an interest rate lock can work in your favor if, let's say, in a couple of days, that interest rate goes up to 6.5% or 7%, because you have a 6% interest rate. That is a great interest rate for you. There are some options that, if you want to change your rate, but you have to keep in mind that you may have to pay more fees or costs to that lender. You can do a float down option to decrease your interest rate, or you can do an extension to the interest rate lock. But like I said, you have to keep in mind that you will have to pay more fees to the lender for that. Myth number 3 is that you should wait to buy a home once the home prices fall and the interest rates come down. You know what, you guys, there's no way that we can predict when home prices are going to fall, or if the interest rates are going to come down, or if there's going to be a market crash. I know that in the beginning of my career, I used to always do videos on how I, was predicting that the interest rates would fall by this certain month or this certain year. And it never really happens. So there's no way to know. And even experts don't really know. And we can listen on TV to the Federal Reserve. I know we heard this past September that the interest rates were really going to come down. And they came down a little bit, but it wasn't anything really significant. And the home prices are still high. So there's no way to predict it. So it's not always in your best interest to wait, because then you'll never become a homeowner. So my suggestion to you is that if you plan to live in your home for a lot of years, let's say 10 years or more, and if you can afford to buy a home and make those monthly payments, go ahead and buy a home now. If you don't plan to live in that home for a long time, or if you can't really afford it, then obviously don't buy a home. But don't try to predict or wait until you think home prices are going to fall or there's going to be a market crash, because it can work against you. Myth number 4 is that buying a home is always cheaper than renting. Now, this is not always the case. In some real estate markets, it may make better sense to rent than to buy. Right now, in many markets, the rent prices and the mortgage prices are pretty much even, but you have to determine what is best for your lifestyle. For example, if you don't plan to live in an area for a long time, maybe renting is a better option for you. If you don't want to do the upkeep and maintenance of home ownership, renting may be a better option for you. If you just move to an area, you're not really sure about the neighborhoods and where you want to live, renting may be a better option for you. But the great thing when you are a homeowner is that you have an asset, and that asset is appreciating over time, and you're also building generational wealth. But you have to determine what is best for you and not just listen to the hype that always buying is better than renting. Myth number 5 is that you should find a home before you get pre-approved. Now, this is a huge myth. It's always best to get pre-approved first with the lender before you start shopping for a home. Because what if you go out and you start shopping for a home and you find a home that you absolutely love, and let's say the price is $500,000, and you really find out that you can really only afford a $350,000 home. You're going to be really disappointed. So it's always best to get pre-approved first so you can know exactly what you can afford. And many realtors will not go out with home buyers without a pre-approval, because you don't want to waste your time, and you definitely don't want to waste your realtor's time. So get that pre-approval first. Myth number 6 is that buying a fixer-upper home will save you money. I know right now with the high prices, many home buyers are trying to find a deal. And sometimes you can go into a fixer-upper home and it may look like it may not need a lot of work and that it just needs some cosmetic fixes. It's very important that you either have a contractor come with you when you are looking at the home to know exactly what's going on. And what I find with many home buyers is that they try to rely on that home inspector during the home inspection to tell them all the details and what's wrong with that home. But keep in mind that that home inspector is only doing a general inspection. They're not really getting into the structure of the house or the foundation or the electrical issues or inside the walls. So be sure that if you do decide to have a fixer-upper, that you have the right people or contractors in your corner, because you could end up spending more money than what you wanted to or that what you imagined. So be careful with fixer-uppers. It does not necessarily mean you will save money. Myth number 7 is that you have to get your loan from the lender that pre-approved you initially. If you didn't know, you can change your lender, but it's important that you do it at the very beginning before you do any contingencies like your home inspection or your appraisal. I know I've had clients that once we've submitted a contract, right that day, they say, you know what, I think I can find better loan terms or an interest rate with a different lender. And then they went ahead and spoke to that lender and they got pre-approved within a day or so. So you can change lenders, but make sure you do it before any of your contingencies. Because if you were to wait after the home inspection or after the appraisal, you would have to let that listing agent know and that home seller, which could delay the closing, and that could upset that home seller, and they may end up rejecting your offer altogether. Myth number 8 is that a 30-year fixed mortgage is always better than an adjustable rate mortgage. Now, for those of you who like stability, a fixed rate mortgage may be the best option for you. But if you are a home buyer that you don't plan to live in your home that many years, or maybe just you're relocated for a job for a couple of years, an adjustable rate mortgage may be a better option. Now, adjustable rate mortgage, in the beginning of the loan term, it starts out with a lower interest rate and you get smaller mortgage payments every month. And then over time, that interest rate and the payments can go up or down. And of course, they usually do go up. So a lot of people are fearful of an adjustable rate mortgage. But like I said, if you are not planning to live in that home for 10 years or more, or it's not your forever home, an adjustable rate mortgage may be beneficial to you because you will get that lower interest rate and smaller mortgage monthly payment in the beginning. And then you would move in a couple of years and you would never get hit with a, higher mortgage payment. And if you are a home buyer that, at your job, you may have raises over the years, an adjustable rate mortgage may be great for you because in the beginning you have that lower interest rate and lower monthly mortgage payments. But when those payments increase, if it goes up, you'll have more money and income than you did when you first bought the home. So not always is a fixed rate mortgage the best option. Myth number 9 is that you have to pay the seller's asking price. Always keep in mind that the price that this home seller has listed is what they hope to get. It does not mean that's what they are going to get. And the great thing about real estate is that everything is negotiable. You can do counter offers, you can negotiate, you can give incentives, you can give concessions. So just because that seller is asking for that price does not mean you have to pay it. Now, in the very competitive market that we are in right now, where there's very low inventory and there's a high demand of home buyers and there's multiple offers still in many markets, you may have to increase the price over the seller's asking price. But like I said, everything is negotiable. And my last and final 10th myth is that you have to have excellent credit to buy a home. Of course, it doesn't hurt to have excellent credit because you'll get a better loan term and a better interest rate, but your credit does not have to be perfect. Did you know that you can have as low of a credit score of a 580? Yes, that's right. You can have as low as 580 with an FHA loan. But you do have to keep in mind that you won't get the best loan terms and you will have a higher interest rate. So don't ever feel discouraged if you have a lower credit score because you can still get into a home. So these are the 10 myths that you need to be aware of if you are a home buyer. Don't always believe all the negative things or the hype. Just speak with a professional realtor and speak with a lender who can help you and guide you in the home buying process. Thank you for watching.